And we're back with ckscast number 16, of course. Yeah, I'm back. We're here. We're still doing this thing for the 3 people that listen to it. Fantastic. I've been suffering from the Illuminati flu the last week. That's what I call it now. To get past the YouTube censors. And they try to bring me down, but this old boomer is indestructible, at least for about another couple of weeks. So and it's been quite a lot going on. I did my 1 hour show that went great, and then it took me a while to recover. Then we had Filippo Sprefico here. He did a couple of shows at the Rivington Hotel, went pretty well. Was very nice, and he spent a bit of time. We had a great chat one afternoon. That was really cool. Discussing comedy and life and everything, and how the Illuminati is in our brains with their black pills and all kinds of stuff. And then, and also I got horribly flued up for the last week. It's been a drag, just pulling my ass. What was beautiful, actually, is they had Comedy Brew on Thursday, and Martina hosted it. She's one of the comedy scene here. Her name is Martina. And she did a fantastic job. Check out In Your Face Comedy. That's the thing, the subliminal messaging for this podcast. But yeah, it was her first time hosting. And I came and set up the show, went home, had something to eat, came back at the end. And what was beautiful is that, I could just feel the vibe. Everyone had a great night. People were saying Martina, she killed it and did a really great job. And just seeing like this kind of circle of people around Robbins and In Your Face Comedy, and it's like a little social world. It was really, I don't know, it gives me that warm feeling of heartburn. But no, it's nice to see that, like this thing can work without me. That needs to happen. And and it's just a nice feeling to know that we're kind of contributing something to everyone having a good time, being a bit more human, a little bit less on our phones, stuck on the internet, stuck in our heads. Come on, comedy, people, come out. It's a great night. Yes. I'm just scratching my nose. Inappropriate things. Yes, drink something now. Water. I love it. Fresh water filled with estrogen to make my titties grow. All right, so what's happening today? Today I'm going to talk about a bit of a business topic. It's like, we live in this time where we idolize concepts, and when I was growing up, despite the fact that we had like the whole kind of Gordon Gekko, Thatcher, 80s greed, fundamentally we were still like kind of with the hippies, we were like, hey, like who gives a shit about money and greed and all of this stuff and assholes, like let's try and be good to each other, truth, love, peace. We're all connected as just one beautiful thing. According to people that took mushrooms and acid. But the thing is, actually, I notice now is that we, thanks to all the shit that we watch, like Netflix and this kind of stuff, is we start to idolize being an asshole. And what better place to examine assholes up close than the place that you work, especially if you work in a corporate organization. Now, there's a lot of stuff like where people are like, you spend all these years studying, learning something to be, able to make money with it, be it software development or, whatever you're doing, marketing, blah, 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 biochemistry, I don't know, whatever you did. You put all these years in, you get in a corporation, you're full of like enthusiasm, and then they crush your dreams. And there's a few like ideas out there for what causes companies to be so retarded. So I'm just using that word. I'm putting it out there. And one of them, actually, let's just jump across to to this screen. One of them is this thing called the Peter Principle. And this comes from a book that was written sometime, I couldn't bother to get the facts, but it's on Wikipedia. And the idea of the Peter Principle is basically this, is that within a company, you get promoted to your maximum level of incompetence. So if you're doing your job well as a plumber, pretty soon they go, well, then why don't you manage a team of plumbers? And of course, you have zero management skills. But, you know, and so this has been a long time used to explain the idea that, you know, like if you want to know why your company is so ridiculously stupid, it's because they promoted the most incompetent people. And, you know, all of us were incompetent when we're put in a position where we're not trained to do it. And by the way, Switzerland is notoriously bad at management. If you're a manager in Switzerland, go get some training, stop micromanaging stuff, actually learn something about management, even though, you know, anyway. But actually, the thing is, there's this great idea. So this idea of the Peter Principle has been around. If it's new to you, then okay, the whole thing is new here. But for a long time, the Peter Principle was like, yeah, what explains how stupid this company is? It's the Peter Principle. But then there's another great piece of writing that I ran into 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, and it's called the Gervais Principle. And you'll find it, just Google the Gervais Principle. And it's basically this guy writes up like about The Office, that TV series, The Office, that was done in England and then, you know, remade for Americans. And it describes a different model for understanding the way companies work. And it basically says like this, let's pull this up. Pull that up, Jamie. Hold on a sec. Here we go. Look, it basically says is that companies work like this. At the top, you've got sociopaths or psychopaths. In the middle, you got the middle management, the clueless. And at the bottom, you got the losers. Now, before I just I'm going to explain that in a bit more detail, first of all. But in case you're new to the idea that people running companies are mostly freaking psychos, you know, this has been known for quite a while. You know, this, if you look up, I mean, this is what is this, CNBC, 1 in 5 business leaders have psychopathic tendencies. That's numbers way too low, by the way. Because the thing is, it's just like the competitive nature of the top level of companies is geared, you know, there's even like, this is based on science. Look, here's the PhD paper, and there's been a bunch of these studies. I'm just scrolling through the pages, like, so that you can see, look at all these pages, words, graphs, facts. Oh my God, look at that. Explaining psychos in companies with, and what other things? Numbers, tables of numbers. Oh my God, look at this one. Wow. Effective interpersonal lifestyle. Antisocial. Anyway, so the point is that there's science behind this thing. And I've seen this many times in companies. Like when you get a startup going, sometimes startups are genuinely created by people who have a creative desire to do something good. Less so these days because, like, I don't know, there's already in the early 2000s, like having a startup was something that you did as a passion. Now it's become something that, you know, like the University Hochschule St. Gallen and a whole bunch of other business schools, they're just pumping out people. Create a startup. It's a great scam to fleece some investors of some cash, make a quick buck, get the fuck out of there, get you on a board of another company, fuck that company up as well, rinse, repeat until you're about 40, and then you get onto boards of companies and just destroy the planet. That's basically what's happening where you've studied business. Anyway, and but what tends to happen in companies, if you have a good company where you have good people, the founders are great, they had a vision, they really made something happen, something creative that turned into a great product. And at a certain point, it attracts sharks. And sharks are people, when they enter a company, they're not there to make that company a success. They're there to make themselves a success. And they're like, oh my God, this is like a feeding ground. This company is full of seals that I can chomp on. Because they then play a game of internal politics and bullshit. And instead of, and they don't care about the success company. In fact, when you get people like this in a company, your company's basically the clock is ticking until your company is dead. And, and these sharks are out there. They're just people that have been trained. They have the attitude, whatever it is. They're like, I'm going to take these suckers for all I can. And they'll do it by using all kinds of like sociopathic and psychopathic tactics, shaming people, being an asshole, playing company politics, making everything a drama. They probably went to a French business school. And, and these types of people, once you got them in your company, you either purge, and that takes a very strong leader to do that, or your company's dead anyway. And this happens all the time. And, and basically the big companies that survive and somehow make it, you can guarantee that the board is, the executive board of the company, all psychos. Just that simple. You don't get to play at that level. Let me put that in a different context. Like, imagine that it's Friday evening, you finish your week of work, you're like, I'm chill, the weekend is here. And then you get an email at 8 p.m. saying, Harry, you fucked up, and this is unacceptable, and all kinds of bullshit and drama, which is there to occupy your brain over the weekend, so you're stressed, so that on Monday morning, so you didn't get a good weekend because you were thinking about this stuff all the time. This is the techniques, the type of things that psychos like to do. And when you play at this level, it's all about suppressing your internal humanity and playing this game of like 3D chess in your head to be a psycho, to play at that level. That's basically what's going on. By the way, a little aside on psychos and sociopaths. The good news is about people that behave this way, like fucking assholes, is they're not real human beings, and they can fake it up till about 40. They trick us with their, let me see if I can manipulate these people by appealing to their egos and whatever other shit. Once you get past 40, you see, for me right now at 50, my psycho radar is so sharp. It's just, I immediately know, because people like that don't behave, they don't act like fully rounded human beings. With emotional and intellectual intelligence. They're just fucking playing some stupid game, and then and then I just make a choice. Either I just ignore them, or I just have a little conversation. Anyway, and so the Gervais principle is basically saying, in a company, let's go back to this chart. That was my little psycho rant. We need to get rid of the psychos. We'll come to the thesis, but this is how a company hierarchy. No, actually, I'm going to make my thesis now. Guys, here's my problem, and this is the message I'm putting out into the world. We got to stop idolizing psychos. And we've allowed psychos to run Hollywood, to run all the propaganda they're putting in our brain that idolizes psychopaths. And then we all go, I guess I got to play the game. I got to do this. Or you just don't, and you just say, fuck you, motherfuckers, get your psycho shit away from me. Just learn to defend yourself. Anyway, let's get back to the point. So the raw essence, and you need to read this article on, let me just alt tab here. Oh no, there we go. So the Gervais principle, it's on this, if you Google it, ribbonfarm.com, the Gervais principle, it will come up number one. And it's a long read. It's a fascinating read. And it's just a different perspective on the way, look at all those words. It's a different perspective on the way companies run. And the crux of it comes down to this little graphic here, is at the top of the company, you got sociopaths and psychopaths. They're actually running the shit. In the middle, you got the middle management, the people that have been trained to say yes their entire life. They worked hard at university. They got a great degree. And now all they're like, I'm doing everything right. And those people are running like most of the like administration and running of the shit that we have in the world today is done by the clueless, who believe that by doing things right, that they're going to actually make progress, and this is going to be good for them and for the company they work for. And then at the bottom, you got the losers, and the losers are like, fuck this shit. Just give me my money. I'm doing the minimum. And what the argument of the Gervais principle is that the clueless never get promoted to the top layer. It's only the losers that go up to the top. That occasionally a sociopath will single out a loser and say, this loser looks like they've got what it takes. Because to be the loser, what this article argues, is you've got to also be playing a sociopath's kind of game of just not doing what you're supposed to do, doing the absolute minimum in your job, not making an effort, and just, collecting your paycheck, gaming the system for minimum gains, but at least you're not fucking killing yourself for a company. And that kind of, so that's kind of a thing that the whole, anti-work movement that started out of the lockdown is all about that. But anyway, so the point of the Gervais principle is that only losers get promoted to the top layer. And The Office has various examples about it. You can read. I think another one to me is a beautiful example. If you've watched The Morning Show on Apple TV, the relationship between Corey, who's the psycho sociopath with a heart, he's got a heart, but he's a psycho, and they give many examples of this. And you can see it beautifully by his ability to manage his own emotions under periods of extreme stress. And also what motivates him is this like devil ambition. But then he finds Bradley and he promotes her to be like the kind of the number 2 on the network for presenting the morning news. And she's come from nowhere. I don't know, Texas. She's just this like reporter from the middle of nowhere. And then she's discovered, and then he boosts her to the top because he sees that she has the abilities to play at the top level. And it's actually a pretty interesting study of the principle of the Gervais principle, but not done in a comedic style like The Office. So where am I going with this? Actually, I don't know. That was actually my whole point is that basically we idolize this shit. Like we're just, if you look at social media, we're telling ourselves, hey, the rewards go to the psychos. Here's one thing that I've learned about the entertainment business in my tiny little experience is that the people that get to the top are chosen. You don't blow up on social media and these days unless you've been selected for that purpose. In the comedy scenes, there's Matt Rife, and Matt Rife is a story of, he's just this kid, he was editing these TikTok videos, and by the way, his crowd work's fantastic, and he just blew up. But if you look at the things he's been doing, if we dug into whoever's behind Matt Rife, you can guarantee there's some smarter work at play. Matt is the product, but behind him, somebody's making that, somebody's pulling the strings. And but I think the point here is actually I do have a point. I've remembered my point again. I'm old, I forget things. The point here is that the clueless, I mean, it's such a derogatory term that's call these people clueless, that are doing their best and trying to do things right in a moralistic or whatever sense. The world relies on these people that this calls the clueless. The fact that we have clean water and all the systems that run depend on people that in this fucking pyramid are the clueless, the losers. And honestly, I just want to invert the Gervais principle. It's like, let's stop fucking celebrating sociopaths and fucking losers who are just like gaming the system for the minimum. Actually, the point is let's flip it back. doing a job well so that you kind of feel great about it. And, you know, in fact, I've got one more example that I'm going to download on the fly for this podcast. But, you know, it's just like we're celebrating the wrong things, and, you know, we're idolizing just this kind of evil. Am I going to be able to do this? I don't think I will. But anyway, I mean, there was this Indian kid that I saw on social media. He did this beautiful thing. He had giving this look like a TED talk, talking about how he's been sued 4 times by some of the biggest companies in the world because he makes these videos. He's an influencer with like millions of followers, talking about how their marketing lies. And then they come after him, but then he doesn't give a shit, and he has the balls to do that. And this guy, and he has this beautiful thing on his t-shirt. It says positive aggression. And I'm like, this kid has a freaking point, and it's beautiful. You know what's beautiful about this? I gotta find this shit to prove my point. Wait a second. Why didn't I prepare? You know, I gotta start preparing stuff. Fuck it. I don't know. I'm old. I half prepared, but, you know, I got stuff to do today. How long are we into this podcast already? We're in 20 minutes. The point was, I know, this Indian kid, he showed us all up, because here we are, like, celebrating like how we got my mental health issues and everything's fucked and this fucking defeatism. And this kid is just like, you know, when I see some marketing from some company that I find is bullshit, like pushing drinks at kids that are full of sugar, I call it out, and then that thing blows up. And with his t-shirt, like positive aggression, I'm like, God damn, this guy, like, yes. Fucking hell, man. Let's just actually call some people on the bullshit. So if you're in the clueless layer, be proud of being clueless. Be proud of the fact that you make an effort day by day, and the world actually depends on your shit actually working. And these fucking psychos that are milking the system at the top, and the fucking losers that aren't making an effort to do anything, fuck both of those people. Do some shit with your life and do it well. That's my message for today. God, I'm angry a lot of the time. I think it's because of the Illuminati flu. You know, it's infected my brain. It's making it. Anyway. All right, come to Comedy Brew, in your face comedy. Check it out. We're there every Thursday at Robin's. There's going to be more shows coming up. We got some things happening. If I can get my ass motivated to actually do something, and have a wonderful week being clueless.